Yeah.
Yeah. Good evening. Welcome, folks, to the Coatbridge Community Board meeting of Wednesday, 22nd of June 2022. Again, can I just explain that the meeting has been live streamed, as Mark's already put on the Community Board, and we'll move on with any apologies.
Chair, I can go through the apologies. I've got apologies tonight
from, please, that'd be great.
Apologies from Councillor Docherty, apologies from Councillor McVeigh, apologies from Teresa Strain, apologies from Bushra Iqbal, and apologies from Ellie Scott.
That's great. Matt, could I also add, I was contacted late by Eddie Woods from Kipshaw's Tenants and Residents, the apologies, and Anne Cully for Shawhead Tenants and Residents. Okay, quickly moving on, we're looking at the minutes of previous meeting, and if we're going to look through them, if we're happy, I'm looking for somebody to propose and second them. Sorry, who was that proposing? Marion, thank you. Could I have somebody second the meeting minutes, please? Thank you, Councillor. And is any matters arising? No, great, okay.
Sorry, Chair. I don't know if it's worth raising in case other people have had issues. When I went to join the meeting via my calendar on the council system, it wouldn't let me join. I was getting a 404 error. Councillor Carragher had to send me the link to my personal email to let me in. Thanks.
Okay. Matt, take a wee note of that and have a wee look at that for further.
And can I just add something as well, Matt? I was blocked from downloading the WebEx app onto my council laptop as well, and had to go into the browser to launch it. So council laptops are blocked from WebEx.
I think what it is now the council ones are using Teams.
Yeah.
You know, whether or not that's something. I think personally, WebEx on my laptop freezes quite considerably.
Although in saying all that, I am actually on Teams. Sorry, my council laptop. I don't know what is happening with the image though.
Chair, just very briefly, we did have an issue. We had to relaunch the WebEx system. We had to renew it for another year because we can't hold meetings on Teams currently. We can't live stream them the way we would want to live stream them, which is why we continue to use WebEx for another year. There shouldn't be any issue with council laptops, whether it's coming in through a browser or through the app. I know they can sometimes be a bit tricky sometimes, but they should be able to use it one way or the other on that basis. But we'll take a note of that and feed that back to our IT just to let people know if there's any issues and people joining it.
That's great, Matt. Thank you. Just before we move on to the local priorities, I'd just like to offer again that community groups or organisations, if anybody out there consider taking on the role of chair on a rotational basis, they're more than welcome to contact Community Partnership Team via Community Matters email and maybe share the experience of chairing this forum. Okay, folks, thank you for that. Okay, moving on to item 4, local priorities. It's for the LOIPs, and the first item on it is the poverty LOIP, and I think Maureen Simpson's going to give us an update on that, and also the mental health LOIP. Maureen, you available, yeah?
I'm here. It's not much an update, I'm afraid, at this time, because I'm still kind of finding my way around Coatbridge, and we also have a new member of the locality partnership team from the NHS side, so she's also finding her way. Viva, I'm sure you're here, although I can't see you right now. So what we do have is a very quick update, is to tell you that I've been in touch with quite a number of local groups who, in their own ways, are all actually contributing to the LOIPs. I've helped a few of them in the past couple of weeks to get funding for different things, and one in particular is the community garden at Glenboig. So that's something that we're going to be helping them with in an ongoing situation, and hopefully that will hugely contribute to mental health locally, because what they're doing is they're creating a community space that people can use to go and sit and just enjoy the outdoors. So that's it for the updates right now. We are reconvening the locality partnership meetings where it's the guys on the ground that are meeting up. We're starting those meetings next week. And we should have more to report back when we've had a chance to talk.
Thank you, Maureen. Anybody get any comments, questions? Yep, Councillor.
Thanks, Chair.
Carry on.
Thank you. It was more of a suggestion. I'm aware that we've got some new councillors, or first-time members attending tonight, and even for the benefit of our older ones and our memories, I wonder if we could maybe just take the time tonight to say out the names of things in full rather than use the acronyms, just so that members are aware.
Okay, well, I start that by saying that the LOIPs are actually the local outcome improvement plans, and that's basically what we're all working to. So all the work that we are doing and all the work that's being done with the community groups and organisations that are supported by all the different services contribute to the local outcome improvement plans. And the ones for Coatbridge, there are currently 3 in place. They are mental health, poverty and digital. But basically anything can fit under those. So any work that anybody's doing, they are contributing to progressing those local outcome improvement plans.
Maureen, thank you very much. Again, the third one mentioned in Coatbridge is digital inclusion. I think Ross is going to come up and give us, again, hopefully some feedback and update on that. Ross Dunn.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, again, it's just very brief, and it's just to let the board know that there's actually a driving digital local subgroup that operates North Lanarkshire wide, but it is short of representation from Coatbridge. So although there is a subgroup in Coatbridge looking at these issues at a local level, there is wider work being done at an authority-wide level, and it would be good to have some input from the Coatbridge area, I think, to that subgroup. People that want to participate will be fully supported and enabled to join in as much as they want to, but it would allow us to take a local voice from Coatbridge to the authority wider perspective that's going ahead. That links in a lot to the connectivity work that's going on, which you'll have received emails about the engagement around that. But just so that we've got a seat at the table, it would be good if board members could consider anybody that's got a particular interest maybe around digital, about inclusion, about these sort of areas. If you can drop us an email just to express their interest, we can have a chat to them and put them in touch with relevant people. That's it, Chair.
Okay, anybody, any questions, comments to ask Ross? No, great. Moving on, Mike. Sorry, somebody come in there. Was that just some feedback?
Sorry, I've never used the hand up before because I've just found it. I've got disability needs. I'm representing the access panel, not NLC access panel on this Coatbridge Community Board. I'm from Coatbridge, and I find digital very hard sometimes to access. It would be something I'd be interested in, but I wouldn't know whether it would be fully accessible for somebody like myself. I've got a CP, but I'm partially blind, so it can be difficult sometimes.
I think, Chair, if I'm okay to come in there.
Yeah, carry on.
Absolutely. If we're wanting to be as inclusive as possible, we should be looking to put in whatever adaptations we need to the way we operate to allow people to participate and engage. So I'm quite happy if you want me to take that forward, speak to the lead for the digital subgroup, and they can look at any supports they would need to put in place to make sure you could fully participate, if that's going to be an area that you're interested in. Yeah,
no, definitely would be, because obviously everything tends to be going digital, but it's not very fully accessible for people like myself. So it's to try and make it more accessible, and if I can help do that, that would be great for my kind of people like myself.
Absolutely. Sorry, I do apologise. It just says on my screen SG Allen. What's your name?
Sarah Jane Allen, sorry.
Sarah Jane, we'll take a little note of that as an action. We'll follow up with the Driving Digital Locally subgroup, and if you're okay with me passing on your details direct to that subgroup lead, I'll make sure they get in touch with you on that chat.
That's absolutely fine.
That's fabulous. So you just took the words from my mouth. I was asking the same question of Sarah Jane and SG Allen, so that's great.
The problem is my computer because I'm on my big my Apple Mac, because it's a good accessibility, hit my name on the computer as SJ Allen, I would need to change it in my actual Apple Mac for it to change on all the different web things. So it's actually Sarah Jane Allen.
Well, that's great. When you get you moving forward, we'll know it's Sarah Jane Allen in the future. That's great. We'll make sure that piece of work is carried out. Okay. Item 7 is my Coatbridge. It's a local
Chair,
engagement.
sorry, Chair, I think you've got Councillor Larson with a hand raised.
Sorry, Councillor.
Thank you. It's just to ask Chair Ross how often the group meets and whereabouts they meet.
I would need to check the frequency of the meetings, Councillor. I think it's monthly at most. It might be less than that. Like our meetings just now, I think all the meetings have been held remotely, sort of via, it may not be WebEx, it might actually be Teams that they're using. Again, I can find out that information and I'll ask the officer that's leading on it to feed back to you, Councillor.
Councillor, I can maybe come in that, because I was involved in both the poverty and mental health lodge, and we did kind of try to meet, as I say, remotely. It was every kind of 4-6 weeks. When I was speaking to Ross and Maureen at the start of the week, with the change in the staffing circumstances, there's not been a meeting for slightly longer than that. But again, as Maureen says, these things we quickly getting moved forward and getting back in action. If that helps you, okay? As I say, my Coatbridge numbers, item 7, local engagement consultation. Again, it's Ross, he's going to updates on the green space, particularly budgeting, and update on St Stephen's local engagement. Ross, I'll hand it back to you.
Thanks, Chair. Again, Board, just a couple of quick updates. Hopefully everyone will have received an email through the mailing list. At the previous board meeting, there was some information given out about participatory budgeting relating to Nature Recovers. That project's now been launched. There's a dedicated web page on the council website, and people can put forward proposals that relate to the theme of Nature Recovers, about part of the recovery post-COVID in North Lanarkshire, things we can do to improve our natural environment. There's a few restrictions on it, the main one being that projects have to take place on land that is either owned or leased by North Lanarkshire Council, but full details are on the website. As I say, you should have had a general email that was circulated, but I will do a follow-up email tomorrow, Chair, and I'll include the web link in that so everyone's got it fresh. On St Stephen's Primary School, you may be aware that that's going to be the site of the second hub build in Coatbridge. So whilst that's still at its early stages, the local team, so mainly myself and Maureen, we're going to be reaching out to the community to start having those conversations about what space would the community like to see in there, what is it that's lacking in that area that the community could use, so sort of halls, meeting rooms, spaces that they can use during the day to get together, to run classes, to have activities and things. So it's really just an offer just now, Chair, that anyone that's interested in having that discussion and feeding into the process in quite an informal way at an early stage, if they could let myself or Maureen know, either directly or through the Community Matters mailbox, we'll have a chat with everyone and make sure they're included.
Anybody want to come back in on that? Any questions want to raise? Christine McNally.
Hi, I'm Sean Magnums here of Coatbridge. What area is St Stephen's School placed in?
So, Christine, I may well show my ignorance as well. I would have said it was Sykeside/Green End, I would say. But I may be corrected if my geography's off.
Ross, it's Maureen here from CAB. Can I ask, from the point of view we're looking for, areas for outreach? Now, obviously, being a charity, as many are, we're trying to keep costs down to a minimum. These hubs, will they be free? For us to have, like, for instance, an hour's outreach, so that the local community can get access to CAB services?
I think, Marion, that will be part of the operating model for the hubs, and I'm not sure that's been finalised, but what I might do is defer to our community champion. Janie might have a better, handle on the response for that just now. I can't really give any further information at this stage.
Yeah, obviously we're keen to be out as much as possible within the Coatbridge and neighbouring villages area, but it is at the moment, like for instance, we're in Glenboyd and it's at a cost every month. Obviously, if we're then going to move into Shawhead, that's at a cost for Shawhead Community Centre. So obviously we're looking to see if we can get areas that are accessible to the local community, but at a minimum cost to us, because obviously we have limited funding.
Is it okay to come in? Can you hear me okay, folks? Yeah. Is it okay to come in?
Can you do, Jenny? I'll say yes and you come.
Okay, thanks. Hi, Marion. So yeah, in terms of the hubs, one part of my remit is to lead on the operating model for the hubs, and we're actually just moving into phase 2 of the operating model around the hubs, and that's where we are about to start an engagement process over the next wee while with our partners like yourselves to see, you know, how we can actually ensure that it is accessible to the entire community. So it's great timing. And I can get your details and one of my colleagues will be in touch with you. I'm not saying that this is going to happen overnight, you'll appreciate that, but certainly we would like you to be at the table in terms of how we can make this work for everybody and how we can engage our partners. At the moment we've got phase 1 of our hubs, which is one of the hubs being at St Andrews High School Community Centre, part of it, and that's where we have just now a hub which is for our own employees across all our services. But as I say, phase 2 is how do we then fold in our partners. So it's something that we're right at the absolute pinnacle of just now. So I'm happy for you to
that would be good, as I said, because obviously we do want to be out in the community as much as possible for folk who can't get in. And obviously at the moment we're still on appointments only. So if we can get some outreaches at a minimum or no cost, then that's obviously a great help to us and to the community.
Definitely something for discussion, and I'll get my colleague to get in touch with you if that's okay.
Okay, thank you.
Chair, could I come back in just quickly?
Yeah, sure.
Marion, if it's okay with you, we'll just take a wee note of an action and we'll get in touch with you maybe to have those initial discussions, not around letting costs or charges, but actually what would your sort of usage demand be, what type of facility that's. I suppose the conversations we want to have just now is what is the need for the space, and if there's a space there, who could use it and how could they use it. So happy to do that just now so that we can include your input at a very early stage.
No problem.
Thanks.
Ross, thanks very much. Anybody get any other comments want to raise on St Stephen's?
Sarah Jane with her hand up, Chair.
So Sarah Jane, carry on.
I'm just asking about the hubs, since there's going to be one there. Is the hubs going to have first stop shops and different things in them, or is that still going to be the Coatbridge Buchanan Centre?
Again, I'm okay to come in on that. So that's something, Sarah Jane, that is part of our phase 2 planning we're looking at, because you'll appreciate there's a number of partners that we would want to have access to it, but that is one that we're definitely considering. But we're still working through the target operating model, and that's the phase that we're in just now. But again, that's something that Ross can pick up on as well, alongside one of my other colleagues, in terms of how we're going to be able to accommodate the requests that we're going to have and how we can make it a true hub.
It was just so you would know where to go. Like if somebody wanted to either go to needed a first stop shop or cab, or where are things going to be, if there's going to be hubs going on, or whether you've still got, there's a Buchanan Centre at the moment. Will things possibly be moving from the Buchanan Centre to these hubs? Or am I asking a silly question? I'm just trying to find out information.
Not asking a silly question at all, Sarah Jane, not at all. It's just that I'm not able to give you an exact answer at this moment, just because of where we are at a point in time just now about exactly what that's still to be decided. So I'm not deliberately trying to be vague, but again, it's about getting everybody involved in the discussions about what is the best for the hub, and that's where we want to engage with our communities. So very happy to have further conversations away from this meeting about that as well. Definitely the community will be informed of any changes at all. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yeah, that is. I don't see any hands up. Nothing in the chat. Lovely. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the Community Concordant update from Voluntary Action North Lanarkshire. Would that be yourself, Douglas?
Thanks, Chair. Yes.
Thank you.
Just a quick update here, folks. The Community Concordat is an agreement between North Lanarkshire stakeholders, which sets out shared values, approaches to empowering and investing in local communities to improve well-being, equality and sustainability. The Concordat will be developed consultatively with the following stakeholders, including residents, the community, the voluntary sector, members of our community boards, public bodies that serve North Lanarkshire, including North Lanarkshire Council, NHS Lanarkshire, Police, Fire and Rescue. And then once the Concordat has been developed, it will be formally agreed by community boards, NLP's Strategic Leadership Board and relevant committees and NLP partner organisations. Implementation will be supported by all NLP partners working collaboratively with the communities and voluntary sector. It is envisaged that the Community Concordat initiative will help us improve people's wellbeing, strengthen equality, inclusion and sustainability by improving trust between stakeholders, improving collaboration and tackling key challenges such as the COVID pandemic, poverty and the climate emergency. And it will be supported by the new local outcome improvement plans, the plan for North Lanarkshire and complementary North Lanarkshire-wide plans on key issues such as the climate emergency, digital inclusion, mental health and wellbeing and tackling poverty. My colleague Ian Johnson is currently looking to develop focus groups on certain issues and is looking for representation from various groups. What I'll do is I'll put Ian's details in the chat, and if you'd like to participate in these groups, please contact him, and please contact him for more information on the Concordat itself. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Douglas. Again, information from Douglas. Does anybody get any comments, questions? No, nobody, no. I think this is a very quick meeting tonight. It's moving on nicely. Okay, so but item 8, standing agendas item, and it's the local development programmes known as LDPs, and the updates from Matt Costello.
Aye, thanks, Chair. A copy of the report was circulated some time ago regarding the local development programme. This report just gives an update as to where we are with projects that have been completed from the last financial year and some progress reports on projects that will be taken forward in this financial year. There is some information related to project proposal forms, etc., and encouraging local community groups to contact us in relation to developing further projects going forward. But just to highlight the fact that the budget for the Coatbridge area is detailed in the appendix regarding the report for the local development programme projects for this year and for subsequent years. But I'm happy to take any questions, Chair.
Thank you, Matt. Does anyone have any questions?
Hi. Hello, Chair. Can you hear me?
Is that yourself, Teresa?
Yes, it is indeed.
Teresa, can hear you loud and clear. Carry on.
Hi. Can I just ask a question regarding the local development and the plan for the future strategies? I asked a question from the last meeting. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to partake, but it was concerning the North Lanarkshire Council's arrangements. Have they got a plan? Are they forming a plan? Are they working in any way with Scottish Water regarding lead pipe removals? I was just wondering because Scottish Water had a few articles in the local paper last year, July time, saying that they were working in partnership with NLC with regards to upgrading. So I was wondering, is that plan going forward, or has it stalled, or what's happening about the lead pipe removals? Does anyone know anything about it? Maybe not.
Chair, it's not particularly related to a local development programme, but we'll certainly speak to, I make sure when a member of the team speaks to Teresa off table, but that gets some more details and we'll get that clarified.
I just wondered because they have done immense work in Glasgow under the Glasgow Council, and it seems to have stopped at the Cambuslang boundary area. And I thought there's lots of areas talking about pollution and health and going forward would benefit from this kind of a project, because at the time when it was raised way back in 2011, and then extended to 2013, now we're not in the Euro zone type stuff. there were grants going to be available because of the cost implications, etc. So it's quite a convoluted scenario, Matt, that I think the more headspace that people are given to it, and the quicker the better, because it's very involved.
Yeah.
I would like to know more about it.
Yeah, we'll make sure you're contacted, Teresa, and we'll get some more detail, and then we'll
Yeah.
be able to feed that back to the board.
Now, could I also, Mr. Chair, could I also ask a second question? Are the NHS, are they consulting with the community boards regarding the new hospital? And are they updating them and et cetera, et cetera? Because they have a table of contact and consults, and I'm just wondering, do they appraise the local community boards of what's going on with the new hospital? Is that taking place?
I could probably come in there, Chair, if that's okay. It's Ross Dunn.
Okay.
I think, Teresa, yeah, there is actually an engagement group around the hospital.
That's right.
And members of community boards have been encouraged to join that engagement group.
Because
what we will,
sorry, Ross, sorry, I'm part of that, but I was wondering, because of the lack of physical actual meetings and going on to the Zoom method, a lot of what I can see, a lot of the other maybe interested parties seem to have dropped off a bit. And so I'm wondering if they have a policy, because I've asked them to explain, to bring to the group what information is being released to the other ancillary peripheral people, so that they can bring it, that information can come to the group, so the group know what's going outwards. So they're trying to kind of a sort of format that at the moment, with the next meeting not until August. But I'm just wondering, because apart from perhaps maybe an odd shot in the paper, for the general public to be totally aware of what's going on, and I'm talking about bed capacity, everything, that's all the ancillary stuff, Ross, the roads, etc., that maybe should be getting more shared to the public.
Absolutely, Teresa, and we can certainly feed that back to our NHS partners.
Because I think it's incumbent upon them to actually not just, and I don't mean this in a derogatory fashion, but not for them just to sit back and wait for the interested parties to come to them. They have an obligation, Ross, to share this information.
Absolutely, Teresa, and we'll take a note of an action to follow that up with NHS contacts through North Lanarkshire Partnership, and we'll find out what that engagement plan is, and we'll be able to feed that back.
I'll email you with the contact person's name, etc.
That would be great, Teresa, and I'll pick that up if that's noted as an action, Maureen. I'll pick that up.
I'll release his name to you.
Thanks for that, Ross. I've got two hands up here. First up, I've got, sorry, Teresa, is that you?
Sorry.
You okay? Is that you?
Sorry, that's me. That's me.
Thank you,
Sorry.
Teresa. I've got hands up. Gary Robinson. Gary, you want to come in?
Hi, thanks very much, Chair. It's a question about the LDP. As the newly elected councillor for Coatbridge West, it's a couple of specific questions about the ward. I noted that there was anticipated work to be done in Viewfield Road in Kirkwood. And I was just wondering if somebody could give me a little bit more detail about what that work is actually going to entail. And that's in year 2 of the LDP.
Matt, can you come in on that?
We can certainly, we don't have specific detail of the works at the moment, Councillor, but we can certainly make sure we get the information we have. We're happy to share the further detail regarding that with you.
Fine, that's great, Matt.
We'll make sure the team contacts you directly to give you an update on that.
Great. That's fine. I mean, then there's a couple of other questions, but when the team contacts me, I'll cover them off when I get, when we've got an email.
No problem at
Great.
all.
Okay, thanks, Matt.
Okay, thanks, Councillor. Sarah Jane, see you've got your hand up.
Regarding the new hospital, my panel that I'm on has got 2 people that are on one of the people that meet up about it, and they have said it's very hard to get any further information on what's exactly going on with the new Monklands Hospital at the moment, if that's one you're talking about. Because we just had our meeting last week in person, the first one for a while, and we have got that on the agenda every week saying update on new hospital, and there's not been much. So anything would be appreciated, to be honest, because not only does the hospital serve everyone in the community, but it also serves people with disabilities and people with varying needs. So it needs to serve everyone. It needs to be inclusive in that sense. And the people that are on the, probably on the same kind of board or meeting that you were talking about, sorry, I don't know your name, said there's no further updates, and they were wondering why we're not hearing as much. So is there any update, or do we have to wait to the August meeting for the hospitals? Since it was raised, I just thought I'd ask.
Ross, you maybe want to come back in on that?
Yeah, I think. Sorry, I pressed mute twice there. I thought he's behead. I think, yeah, it's certainly coming across that maybe not just the engagement level, maybe the communication, more importantly, hasn't been as people would be expecting. So I think what we can commit to do is take away that information, feed it back to the NHS, and ask them for a response that we can bring to the community board, but also reiterate the importance of communicating clearly, but communicating early as well, so that the information that people need to find out about, they're getting it in a timely fashion. So we'll certainly commit to taking that away as an action and feed it back to the board if we receive it before the next meeting via email, so that everybody's updated at the earliest opportunity.
Thank you. It's just, it's getting harder from the NHS point of view to get information about it, even though we've got 2 people in our access panel on the, I guess, on the committee. They're finding it hard to get any updates, because we keep it on the agenda every month, but we're having to go nothing further on that, no update on that, no update on that, and I don't know. I was asked to try and raise this tonight, but someone else raised it, so I'm just wondering if there's any way of making sure that NHS realise we're really interested, because it's going to be quite an important hospital for this area, I would guess.
Well, as Ross says, Ross will certainly get on to NHS Lanarkshire and make sure we can improve the communications, and any information he gets, he'll certainly get it through the community board forums and email whoever he's got appropriate people. Okay, thank you for that. Moving on, item 9, community matters. We've got some input for local community groups.
Councillor Larson and Councillor Carricker had their hands up.
Sorry, I never seen it. My apologies. We'll go Councillor Carricker starting then, okay?
It was Councillor Larson first.
Sorry, Councillor. Carry on, Councillor.
I was just going to say, I was reluctant to speak on it because I know that the hospital isn't on the agenda and it's not the focus of the meeting, but I just wanted to add into the discussion that I had attended some of the consultation meetings. I found them very interesting, very robust, good engagement. I wonder if we're feeding back, one of the things we might feed back is that it might be useful if a timeline of updates was communicated. I would expect it's going to be a relatively lengthy process, and there will be big gaps in updates as they go back to various phases and back and forth. So maybe if we are feeding back to them, maybe a timeline of updates might be something we could ask for.
Okay. Councillor Carriger.
Thanks, Willie. Just to comment, I'm happy to see the 2 Janur place items on, and thanks very much to sorry, I've forgotten your name. That's terrible. Is it Ross or Rob?
Take the projects off the list. That's it. Scrap them.
It's been a really
it's Ross, Councillor.
long day. Yourself and Maureen for coming out and assisting with that. Oh gosh, I feel terrible now. I do know though it's on here as Dunur Street, the dog walking one. It's Dunur Place. I don't know if that makes a difference, but I could ask that I be kept updated with it as a local member.
Certainly will, Councillor Carricker. We'll update you as that progresses. The address really is, I suppose, just notional. I know that we've changed the location on site, and we know the site that it will be constructed on, so we'll make sure that's communicated at the relevant time.
Right, brilliant. Thank you, and apologies again.
My apologies for not noticing your hand up, Councillor. Okay, as I was moving on, agenda items for community groups, we have an update and a potential project idea from the Friends of Monklands Canal.
Chair, I'm going to share a presentation for the group and they'll talk through it. If somebody could just tell me that it's actually on screen, because Once I share, I think it changes screens for me. So let me just check.
Yeah, it's on the screen now, Ross.
It's on the screen, definitely.
Yeah.
Yep, on screen.
It's kind of small on my screen, so I'm just going to bring up the presentation quickly on my own screen, and I'll just maybe if you can ask you to just switch it to the next page, Ross, that'd be great. So this is the Friends Among Us Canal update. Probably to give you a quick update for what's been going on since the last board meeting. We've had on my social media page, we had some complaints about local school leavers for different schools going into the Daisy Park and littering. So myself and Alan McCormick decided, and some members of the committee, to engage with St Ambrose. We had a meeting with the head teacher, James McParland, to see how we could engage the pupils to learn about the history of the Monklands Canal. If this is successful, we're going to try and meet other schools in the area also, but the idea is to promote the history of the canal. Can you move to the next page, Ross? Work on environmental projects that are linked to the canal. Take part in sporting activities such as running and boating in the canal and surrounding walkways, and work on art and photography projects promoting this fantastic outdoor space. If you can move to the next page, Ross. We had a petition maybe a year and a half ago, to get some service bins. It was, as it wasn't North Lanarkshire's ground, we got the bins, the purchase, but the bins were self, but we had a problem with how the bins were going to be emptied. In May, if you move to the next page, in May, the 3 bins that we actually installed in the canal are now getting emptied by Scottish Canals. They can use daily, they're getting filled up. They're emptying them on a Monday and a Friday, and North Lanarkshire are taking the bins from the pickup point where Scottish Canals are dropping them off, and they're getting rid of the litter. So that's been a successful project, which is working between Scottish Canals and North Lanarkshire in our group. If we move to the next page. We also had the Transport Secretary, Jenny Gilruth, who visited the Monklands Canal. In attendance was our group, the MSP, local MSP Fulton McGregor, Councillor Larson came down with Scottish Canal CEO Catherine Topley and some Sustrans representatives. We highlighted the great work that has went on in recent years and discussed their plans going forward with the Transport Secretary. If we move to the next page, as you can see, this was one of the things we highlighted. The paths were in a total state of disrepair, and we showed them. We took the Transport Secretary down. If you move to the next page, you can see how the paths are now, and that was a big project that we managed to work with Scottish Canals to get done this year. If we move to the next page, you can see this is just a picture of what the canal was like prior to the thousands of bags of rubbish that were removed from the canal. So obviously it was in a bad state of disrepair. And here are some pictures of how the canal looks by some local photographers as of the last year. Obviously a big improvement. Going forward, we'd like to engage with North Lanarkshire Council and Scottish Canals to have the historic pier restored. Underneath you can see a picture of the pier, which is in a total state of disrepair. The idea is, if the pier is restored, people can safely go into the canal and use it on paddle boards, canoes. Just now they're just using the embankment to go into the canal, or whatever they can, whatever area they can get in. Also the Home Farm Bridge, which is trying to find out between North Lanarkshire Council and Scottish Canals who actually owns the bridge, so we can start a restoration or start looking to get money to restore the bridge. And the path, the opposite side of the canal, is, although the new path is accessible to young families, joggers, just people going to school, the path at the other side of the canal's in a state of disrepair, so we're trying to get money to do some maintenance work on the other side of the path, which is at the railway. Just a quick conclusion, the path was left for many years to fall into a state of the canal was left for many years to fall into a state of disrepair. Our grandparents, mums, dads, aunts and uncles have cleared this area up. And I guess the message we're trying to get across to people, this is our community and canal, and we have a duty to make sure this area is kept clean and maintained for future generations. I think Alan McCormick, who is also in the Friends of Monklands Canal group, is in as well. He wanted to just have a quick word, if that's possible, Councillor.
That'd be great. That'd be great, Alan.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank Stephen for a great presentation. I think that comes in really, really handy. Yeah, one of the things that we're aware of, we know North Lanarkshire have just recently used some money in a project in the Daisy Park. We've seen some people out planting some wildflowers, and I think there's some plans to get some disabled parking going on down there. Now, that area is right next to the pier that Stephen was talking about, the pier that we're hoping to utilise. Many years ago, North Lanarkshire, I think, worked with Scottish Canals to build this pier. Maybe 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, because obviously the pier is on Scottish Canals ground, but you know, I think there was obviously a collaboration between North Lanarkshire and Scottish Canals to build the pier and to build the little jetty, because the access area is in the Daisy Park. We would really like North Lanarkshire Council and Scottish Canals to work together again, basically to develop that area around there as a kind of, you know, that's an area that the local schools could utilise to give them access to the water safely. St Ambrose High School's just down the road, St Augustine's, Langlone Primary. I think where we are now with the Monklands Canal is we really need to start utilising it. As I say, the schools, we've spoke to Mr McParlin just recently, and hopefully in the year coming we'll be working with the schools a little bit more. But if they haven't got a pier to access the water for, you know, kind of maybe getting canoeing activities on it, they're just not going to be able to do it. So we would really like yourselves at North Lanarkshire and Scottish Canals and ourselves to maybe get a plan in place to get the pier upgraded and to get that area, maybe get a couple of little benches down there, a little couple of, you know, kind of picnic area that people could sit and wait, you know, to get onto a wee boat or something, or to get onto a pier. So, I mean, I'm not quite sure who to contact. Myself and Stephen have already spoke to Scottish Canals about this, but because it would be a joint project between yourselves at North Lanarkshire and them, we maybe need to get together and have a wee discussion about it. I mean, I don't know how you'd feel about that.
Okay, Alan, thanks for that. I'd say for the last time of the meeting, that's what you're carrying out is a fabulous piece of work. So I see Councillor Larson's got a hand up. So Councillor Larson, you want to come in?
Thanks, Chair. I want to say a couple of things. Firstly, Stephen, that was a great PowerPoint, especially in this type of forum, because it lets other community groups see the journey that a community group can go on and what can be achieved. As I've said before at the community board, it's like a civic function that this community board has created. It's ticking all kind of boxes. It's promoting mental and physical well-being, great use of outdoor space, etc., etc. Two things that I just want to add on at the end of that. I know that you and I, Alan, have been engaging in emails back and forth, and we've not got some answers that we've been waiting on lately. And I know there was some confusion over areas of land. So I've asked Vicky Abernethy, our Green Space and Country Parks Manager, to call you directly so that we can sort of nail that down. But I wonder if anybody else might be able to speak to whether or not some of these things that Friends of Monklands Canal are trying to achieve might actually be quite a good fit for the Nature Recovers funding. I don't know if MD could speak to that, or if Alan or Stephen, you've actually applied or had a wee look at that.
Is this the funding which is the 10th of July has to be put in by? Is that North Lanarkshire? There's a funding which It says on any North Lanarkshire land that you can apply for up to maybe £10,000. Is that the one, Councillor Larson? A different one. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I've not looked at the detail of myself, but it was mentioned at the last board meeting and mentioned earlier tonight. Matt, would you be able to?
I think Ross, sorry, can I come in, Councillor? Ross was giving us a feedback on that nature of the couple of participatory budgets, so maybe he can come in on that.
Chair, yeah, I can probably clarify. That's not a grant funding stream, so it's not an application for funding for organisations. There's a budget allocation for this type of work, and it's about people putting forward proposals that can be carried out on council grounds, which will then go out to a public vote with the most popular projects being taken forward. So it differs slightly from a grant award programme, as in an organisation isn't putting in a submission and bidding for a share of the money.
And is the application process still open? Yeah.
It is, Councillor. It's open till mid-July. I think maybe Stephen said 10th or 11th of July. And the website, which was on the email, and I'll circulate to everyone tomorrow as well, that web link that tells you all about the process, you can also submit proposals directly through there as well.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Christine, you had your hand up earlier. You still want to come in?
Yeah, I think it was just me thinking forward. I mean, we're spending money sending pupils and students to Glasgow to do personal development around learning water sports. And I'm just wondering if this could be an add-on, a social enterprise within Coatbridge itself, so that the group could then run the social enterprise about the water sports and the learning paddle boarding and canoeing and things like that. So there's a move on from this. There's a bigger picture here to be used in partnership with the group, the community group, and North Lanarkshire Council. Because I think I would rather send children locally down to Coatbridge rather than sending them to the other end of Glasgow for it.
Okay, thanks for that, Christine. Stephen, you want to come back in and see your hands up, and you can come in after him, Adam.
So I guess there's two things. We've got people in the group who are willing to do safe water training, but we've had to hold back in it because, first of all, we haven't got a peer, obviously, and secondly, as a group, we're just trying to find our feet how to go forward here. So maybe it's a discussion we can have in North Lanarkshire. I guess getting back to the pier, the whole area down there has been transformed. But if you look at the pier when you're out jogging or out for a walk, it looks pretty terrible. So the idea that as a group and what community members have been saying, it'd be great to have a modern pier with, I guess, some sort of instead of old wood, some sort of composite decking that would last for years, and the kids could use it. But it'd be a great idea if the school kids could use it instead of, I guess, sending them to Glasgow or wherever else going forward.
Okay, thanks for that, Stephen. Alan?
Yep, that's an interesting one, Christine. Thanks for bringing that up. I was talking to one of our contacts in Scottish Canals today, and it was quite interesting because I was talking to him about an idea that we've got at the Friends of Monkless Canal to kind of join in with Summerlee. But the conversation ran to a project that's happening over in Twecker. There's some kind of community group over there who are building an activity centre apparently on the water at the canal at Twecker, basically to give the kids something like a Kilbowie experience quite close to home. And when I heard that today, I thought that's exactly what we should be doing in Coatbridge, Christine. I think, you know, I think that we need to utilise the facilities we've got. We've got the Drumpellier, we've got Strathclyde Park, we've now got the Monklands Canal, and I think that would be it would be great if we could make that happen. But again, what we need to do, because, I mean, me and Stephen have had a chat about this, the difficulty we've got is Scottish Canals own that land there. There's a boundary line, and North Lanarkshire will not go across that, and Scottish Canals will not go across that side. So it's a case of sitting down together and coming to an agreement. If there's money, if there can be any investment made in it, I think it would be a really worthwhile project just at that little bit where the pier is. And as I say, it's something that might not happen today, but maybe if we could you know, put the wheels in motion, we could make that maybe, you know, we could maybe get some plans drawn up for it. But I think Scottish Canals in North Lanarkshire, so we really need to all work together here to get something done.
You were, sorry, I'm taking over here. You were talking about safe water training.
Yep.
What's that around?
What it is Christine, there's a guy called Anthony. I think he's an ex. I don't know if he's still with the fire service, but he works with Scottish Canals and he runs open water safety courses. And he's well recognised. He's got all the accreditation, and I'm sure he's done stuff down at Strathclyde Park. He's done stuff down at Loch Lomond. We've been. Anthony's been keeping in touch with ourselves, and he's quite keen to come down to the Monklands Canal and do a kind of water safety day. The problem myself and Stephen and our committee have got is we're spinning a lot of plates just now. Stephen's working, I'm working, and we just physically don't have the time to get Tony down there.
Could you, I'm sorry for butting in again, there might be something around the consortium that we could maybe do, and Willie will keep us right here because he's still also on the consortium, but there might be a wee bit of an opportunity of funding a safety day. So keep in touch with me.
Yeah.
And that might be a connection in with your local schools as well. And obviously it's doing good if it's teaching the kids safety around it. And it's also raising the point that the canal could be used for something around the sports and children's. So if you keep in touch with me, there's a wee bit of funding out there just now, but you need to come and speak to me.
Right.
Yeah, I think, Alan, I think that's a very good way forward, but Christine's mentioned the consortium. And I was just reading lately that Scotland's the worst in the UK for deaths and drowning for open water. So the safe water training would be a fabulous idea at the moment.
I heard that today in the news, and I thought it was probably complete nonsense, but it is relevant. And I think what we're doing just now on our social media page, Scottish Canals have put a high profile on water safety just now, and they're putting together some brilliant social little media videos and promotions, a wee bit like, you know, when we were kids, the Charlie Says kind of things. So we're putting a lot of them on our Facebook page now, because you've got to make people aware that it is dangerous. Water's a dangerous place to be about. So it's raising awareness of that. So we're, as I say, Stephen and the group, you know, but we're trying to do the right things. We're just trying to, there's a lot going on, and because we work full time, we're kind of struggling just to kind of nail certain things down. But Anthony, the water safety guy, we would love to have him on the canal fairly soon. And as I say, it'd be good. Maybe even, I don't know how it would work, Christine, through the summer, because the kids aren't at school. Would the kids need to be in a school setting?
No.
You know, because that's what I was saying to Stephen, is we've kind of ran out of time, because I think they break up in about a week's time. So,
I think we can certainly, there's plenty of agencies around that can engage with youth, with young people. So get in touch with me. I'll put my name and my address, my email address on the chat here, and that goes for any other community group that's around. There is a wee bit of funding again coming up until October, and we're hoping, fingers crossed, we'll get more funding to give out to community groups. And it is about making the best of the money to meet the needs of the individuals and the communities. So knowing Coatbridge, and there is a lot of water areas around Coatbridge, so it could be children that are coming down for a bit of a day through to the canal. It doesn't have to be children living within the canal. You can have an open water day there and teach children who are living around in and out of Coatbridge. And it's about getting that safety message out. And it might be just promoting what you're putting out on Facebook as well. And I don't know what your gentleman does. So you'll need to get details of what he does and the costs, and we'll see if we can maybe organise a wee Waterwise day or something like that at some point. But certainly contacting children's not a problem. We've got Willie there with a centre, Glenboy's got a centre, we've got other centres within Coatbridge, there's other agencies there that we can make links with. So I wouldn't worry about trying to get a hold of people. I think I'm more about, let's get an afternoon or a day or something organised around Waterwise.
Well, that sounds good. As I say, the biggest problem myself and Stephen have got is actually nailing down a day and a date to do it, because, like I say, we're spinning quite a lot of plates. We're pushing hard for to get this pier put in. We've also got another plan that we would like, and it's basically we've been in touch with the Friends of Summerlee, who work in Summerlee Museum, and basically they've been restoring a little steamboat called the Fire Queen. And this was a boat that was built at the start of the century, and it had actually sailed on the canal. So as a group, we've been pushing. We've met Summerlee, and we've spoke to Scottish Canals about the possibility of putting this little steamboat on the canal again, even if it's just for one day. Basically to celebrate the resurgence in the canal and basically the rebirth of the canal, because this little boat connects the past to the present kind of thing. And Scottish Canals are right up for it. Summerlee are right up for it. As I say, we have to have a meeting with Lou down there. So, you know, that was our main thing just now, Christine. And as I say, but this thing about the water safety with Tony, it's definitely something we want to do. It's just when we can find the time to organise it.
Can I maybe also put in there as well, you might be the one that instigates all this, but there are other partners out there amongst the consortium that would work with you and help you to deliver that. So you're not on your own here, and it's not down, it needn't just be down to you. There are other partners here that can help you out and help you deliver it. So don't think closed on that about your time. There's other agencies there that we could maybe pull together to be able to help you do that.
Great, Christine, thanks. And I think the way forward with that is to make contact with Christine and myself through the consortium, and we can certainly move this forward based on the water safety. And I think it's speaking to Ross, continue your partnership with Councillor Larson and move forward on all the great piece of work you're doing. I've got hands up for Paul Council. Paul, you want to come in?
Hi, how's it going? Yeah, thanks. So my name's Paul, obviously a station commander for Coatbridge in Bells Hill. Just backing up what Alan and Stuart said there, Stephen, sorry. Love your passion, and that's something that we can totally get on board with. Motherwell's got a dedicated water rescue station, so there's a partner connection straight there. You just tell me what you need and when. I'll get our water rescue teams across, and we can tie up and get water awareness. We've done it recently at Strathclyde Park with a great success, with Police Scotland as well. So if you guys and girls let me know a date, what you want, and I'll get Motherwell to attend, and we'll definitely get on board.
Thank you, that's great.
Great, that's lovely.
Paul, could I ask you something? Do you know the guy, I can't remember Tony's second name. No, I think he's a fireman or something. I don't know if you do you work alongside him, or are you a completely separate entity?
There's 100 million Tonys that work for the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service. I'm trying to think of one that Coatbridge would
I mean, the name is his organisation called Open Water Rescue. Right. He I think he works during the day, and he does this on a part-time basis. Now, I mean, I'm absolutely, yeah, by all means come down, but I've already spoke to Tony about doing this, and I wouldn't want to, you know, cut him out of the picture here.
Absolutely, we could just tag along and obviously show you what we've got, and obviously explain to the kids the dangers of water. As you said one earlier on, we have a real challenge with water awareness and deaths within certainly the Lanarkshire area. Last year there was a couple of fatalities, unfortunately, so it's something we've proactively been trying to achieve with Police Scotland. So
right, that sounds great. Sounds great. Happy to go along with that, Paul.
That's great, Paul. Thanks for that. As I say, Alan, I think we've got the benefits of the community board here, but there's this inclusion, there's real partnership working to get developed, and I think we can only improve and move forward from this. So thank you very much for that. Once again, the Friends Monkton's Canal, I think your presentations every time there's a community board meeting are fabulous. You're doing a fabulous piece of work, and long may it continue. As I say, we're moving on really nicely tonight. Is there any other competent business? I'm just wondering, is there any other input from any local community groups?
Mr. Chair, could I ask a question?
Yes, you certainly can. Teresa, carry on.
I have really one question. There was an issue of speeding in Glenboig brought up in the February meeting, and I was wondering, do NLC have a strategy against A, speeding, and B, pollution on residential streets? I'm just wondering because I live in a very busy residential street, and the pollution level sometimes from vans, lorries, cars is really, you can actually taste it. And I was wondering, in view of this new era of clean air, do NLC, do they have a strategy, or are they going to have a strategy?
Is there anybody from the council who could come in on that? Councillor Larson, thank you.
I was just going to say, if we could find out which ward Teresa lives in, we could request a traffic survey be carried out.
It's just, I know that NLC have a couple of monitoring stations like Kirkshaw's Road, etc. But I just would like the area that I'm in to be, I've already asked and received through NLC a traffic survey way back in 2017, but I just would like the air to be analysed. Should I get in touch with Councillor Larson?
Feel free to do that. I'd be happy to contact John Ashcroft and team on your behalf to see if they could do that. No problem.
Well, I meet sometimes John Ashcroft through the roads and whatever group, subgroup from NLC for the tenants and residents. So, okay, thank you very much.
Sorry, Alan, you want to come back in again? You're on mute, Alan.
Pardon. It's just before the meeting ends, I was wanting to go back to something Kirsten was talking about. It was regards an access path that goes from the new path on the Monklands Canal down to Drumpellier Lawns. When the new path was done, basically they didn't take the path down to Drumpellier Lawns, and we've had one or two wee talks with Sustrans, and Sustrans have said they have the money and they're willing to go ahead with the upgrading the path going down to Drumpellier Lawns, but they're having a bit of a problem with Lanarkshire Council. Actually, they seem to be dragging their heels on this. So it was just to find out if we could get an update. It was a girl called, I think her name is Vicky Abernethy, Kirsten was dealing with her. But as I say, the new path was put in November, and a lot of the residents down there are on our page, and they're asking what's happening with the path, the link path going down to Drumpellier Lawns. So we're quite keen to, if we can give them an idea of when that path's going to be upgraded. As I say, Sustrans have got the money ready to go with it. They're just waiting in North Lanarkshire, coming back to them and giving them the go-ahead, basically. So I don't know if anybody could shed any light on that to tell us what stage that's at, or if it's just been put in a cupboard somewhere.
Okay, thanks for Alan. Is there anybody can maybe give Alan some update on that, please?
I can just add that I've asked Vicky Abernethy to call you, and I can keep. Oh, there's somebody else coming in, but I'll keep on going back to her until we get a wee answer on that call this week.
Okay. Thanks, Christine.
Thanks, Kessler. I've got three up here. I've got a hand up for a Coatbridge Thames resident. I don't have a name.
It's Karen Willie.
Hi, Karen. Hi. Oh, hi there.
Hi, how you doing? Karen. It's just to say it's nice to have Ross on board. We did have a meeting with him a few weeks ago. We got a couple of ideas in Kirkwood. We've put into the community, done a couple of opinion polls as well, to see what the community would like. So we are working with Ross. I hope to have a few updates with you soon. It's good to see him on board.
Okay, and
the councillor was interested as well. There's a couple of areas in Kirkwood. There's some parks and some extra parking that we're looking at. Happy to meet up with him as well if he wants to.
Okay, take note of that. Thank you. Paul, your hand's up again. You want to come in? You're on mute.
Yep, always happens. So just added in the chat there, sorry. So we're currently undergoing a consultation for our strategic plan for 2022 to 2025. It's basically your say on how we're making moves forward with the fire and rescue service. If anyone can have a look at the draft proposal and giving me feedback, that would be appreciated. Thanks.
Thank you, Paul. Matt, sorry, I noticed your hand up earlier as well. You want to come in? No, you're on mute, Matt.
No, it's fine, Chair.
Sorry, right. And Councillor Robinson, you want to come in again? I see your hands up.
Thanks, Chair. Just to say to Karen, thanks very much for that comment. And yeah, absolutely, myself and Councillor Mitchell will be happy to meet up with you.
Any other business? Are we rounding off really early tonight? This is great. Sorry, I've got a couple of hands up again here. I've got Lynn Smith.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Hi. I just wanted to come in and introduce myself and the community group really, and give a bit of an update to everyone. So I'm the development officer from Cliftonville and Coatbridge Community Group, which I don't know if many of you are aware of. It's located on Quarry Street in the Coatbridge Indoor Bowling. And we currently have a community event coming up in July, the 23rd of July. It's sort of to engage the local community, just to let them know about our facilities and our community group. So we have a fun day. It's happening on Saturday, the 23rd of July, from 12 till 3. So just in case it's of interest to anybody or anybody that you work with, we are providing bouncy castles, face painters, we've got free lunch as well we're providing. We've got local crafters coming to the event. I believe we've actually got the fire services as well that will be there, and some local organisations that we work with or we've partnered with previously. So it's just really like a fun free day out for families and kids to attend. We've reached out to some of the local primary schools as well within our vicinity. So we have got, is it Greenhill Primary and St Patrick's Primary, who are actually have designed our flyers and banners and promotional material for the event as well. But yeah, it was just to give everyone an update in case this is of any relevance to anyone. I can share, I think I actually did send a flyer in, but I can share that out so that everyone's got these details and don't need to remember them. But yeah, that's just a bit of an update from us.
That's great, Lynn. Thank you very much for that.
No probs.
Marion, I see your hands up again.
Yeah, Chair. As I said, it's not really competent business. It's just to get it noted in relation to Coatbridge. You've seen in the local Airdrie Coatbridge Advertiser today that one of the residents of Coatbridge, and she's also with a volunteer with us at Coatbridge CAB, became the Volunteer of the Year in the SCVO Volunteer of the Year Scottish Charity Awards. She's 81 years of age. She's served in CAB for 20 years and still serves in CAB. She's working with the local MSP, Philip McGregor, on power of attorney and issues in relation to some of the community trying to do that. And it was really just to get it noted in the minutes for her congratulations. It's a Nan Fotheringham. And there's a big page in the Advertiser about her today. So we're delighted. It's great publicity for Coatbridge. It's great publicity for volunteering. And it's great publicity for the CAB network as a whole across the whole of Scotland.
That's great. A big well done then. I'm sure whoever's taking the minutes tonight will make sure that's well noted in the forthcoming minutes.
Thanks, Chair.
Lynn, your hand's still up. You want to come back in? Or just...
No, sorry, I don't. I've just not taken it down. Didn't realise I had to take it down.
That's okay. Ross, I see your hands up. You want to come back in?
Yeah,
sorry,
just very, sorry, just very quickly, Chair. I'm not sure if Lynn would have seen the chat. It looks like she might be on a phone. So Lynn, if you want to send a flyer in to me, if you get an electronic version, I'll circulate that with the entire board mailing list, so they've got the details for your event, if that would help.
Yeah, that's great. I'll send that on.
Perfect. That offer goes to anyone else as well. If you've got information that's to be shared, you know it's appropriate to be circulated to the board. If you send that through to me, I can compile it all and I'll send it out to everyone at the one time.
That's great, Ross. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Councillor Larson, do you want to come back in?
No, I've just missed the date in the event that Lynn was talking about. I was going to ask her to pop it in the chat. Thanks.
Okay, and hands up. Who have we got? We've got Stephen McCargo. Stephen.
Hi, it's just to say that obviously on our social media page we've got 3,000 members, but if you share the details of that, we could maybe put the flyer up onto our social media page if you'd be happy for us to do that, Lynn.
That's great. Just
Yeah,
work that
sorry,
out.
I'm slow with the unmuting, but yeah, that's fine. I'll send that on. That's perfect.
I guess the other thing I was going to mention is the head of the police for them, or a representative for the police in the meeting tonight.
Yeah, we have Chair, we have Inspector McLeod in the meeting tonight.
Yeah, it's just we had some antisocial behaviour down in the canal where a couple of young guys with dogs were intimidating old age pensioners. Now, contacted, we spoke to the I guess it's, I don't know if it's community police officers. I think it was Stephen McCutcheon and Laura, and they were pretty helpful, just sending a reply to us and keeping an eye out for the situation. So the old age pensioners who it happened to, you know, they were thankful for the two police officers that done that.
Oh, that's well noted, Stephen. Thanks very much for that. I'm aware of that one. Steph McCutcheon did speak to me. I know he was, and I knew he'd been speaking with Al McCormick on the back of it. And I think part of the issue was that there was a lot of antisocial behaviour around about the kind of Drumpellier area. A lot of youths gathering, and they were getting moved on by police, and then they were kind of splitting up, and it became evident that they then began gathering down at the canal as well and causing issues. So yeah, a kind of constant issue that we're dealing with, but I'm glad they were able to help and assist on this occasion.
Yeah, I think, sorry, I think the two incidents were separate. The local kids were, when the schools were breaking up, and part of the reason we went and had a chat with the school was so we could try and engage the schools. The other one was another incident that I get with an old age pensioner who were intimidated by, I guess, a couple of guys with dogs, and they were going along the canal. So just thanks for that as well. It was two different incidents.
Okay, I see Kitwood. Kana's got her hand up again. Is that Kana? We just forgot to remove the hand sign.
Oh, I put it down, Willie, thanks.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, I think
that's it.
I think that's our business for tonight, folks. I think we've kind of been through this nice and very smoothly for the first meeting back. I'd like to thank you for your attendance, and the date of the next meeting is scheduled for the 30th of August 2022. Have a good night, folks, and take care. Thank you.
Thanks all.
Yeah.
Thank you.